For the future, it's very good looking for this compound, especially with meth addicts and Adderall abusers, people who have fried their dopamine. This can get them back on track much faster than, again, relapsing, going back to the stimulants, going back to the amphetamines. What is up, everyone? It's Russo. I hope everyone is doing well. Today's ASMR sip is 1907. Check out 1907.com. Coupon code Russo. Best tasting water by far. ASMR Spritz, Intelligent Carbon, and Young LA. Coupon code Russo. If you want to support my content, check out my pinned comment in the description below. Alright guys, another fucking crazy story time. So this is going to be the 9-MeBC update. So I'll have Andrew throw up just an introduction video. There's really not that much data on this, but essentially my dopamine, serotonin, and noradrenaline systems were fucking fried after the lion's mane fiasco. And I'll also have Andrew link the lion's mane fiasco on why I'm even messing around with this 9-MeBC. So I was trying to recover my dopamine. Nothing, there's no joy in the world. I couldn't feel my dopamine. Basically, the lion's mane flooded my brain so much that this is, again, speculation, neuroscience. I'm not no neuroscience major, but the sensitivity to dopamine, like, it got jacked up because it was flooded for so long, and I needed to try and reset my sensitivity. I decided, after consulting with my biohacking friends, that 9-MeBC could play a role in speeding up the process of my dopamine resetting itself. Otherwise, it could take anywhere between 3 to 12 months for my dopamine to fully come back down to normal sensitivity. You know, I did the introduction video. I definitely labeled this as a sketch compound. There's virtually no data on it, but the promising little inklings of data for the future, it's very good looking for this compound, especially with meth addicts and Adderall abusers, people who have fried their dopamine. This can get them back on track much faster than, again, relapsing, going back to the stimulants, going back to the amphetamines. I wanted to go into my experience. I started off experimenting around pretty much immediately with 30 milligrams a day. I told you the first initial dosing, I felt a rush of dopamine and I felt pretty much significantly better. That was like the first time I actually felt my dopamine since the lion's mane incident, right? I could feel a little bit of my dopamine, but it wasn't anywhere remotely normal. The rush would probably die out around like 30, 40 minutes. And then I feel like a little bit like on the road to recovery. So I continued on with this dosage, 30 milligrams a day. And I got to, I think it was day 4 or day 5. And of course, with the way my life is, this is my girlfriend's birthday. So during the birthday dinner, this eureka moment happened. I thought that it was going to acutely adjust sensitivity. Andrew, it's like someone went in the settings and just like dragged the sensitivity back down to normal. I was doing the same dosage every day, tolerating it fine. No big deal. My dopamine felt a little bit higher. I felt a little bit more sensitive to life. I felt on the road to recovery. Of course, the birthday dinner with the girlfriend. Boom, I'm in the restaurant. The saxophone, like the background ambient music. Felt like I was at a concert. All the stimulus of the restaurant. I mean, it would have been a panic attack, I feel like, for most people. I knew it was the 9-MeBC, but immediately my sensitivity returned completely to normal. My depersonalization stopped. It was nuts. At first I'm like, oh, am I really myself? Am I really myself? Boom. Completely stopped in the restaurant. Carolyn said that I looked manic eating my steak because I was feeling all this dopamine, right? So I was fucking eating my steak at the speed of light, and she's like very concerned, obviously. And then the kicker was, it felt like I couldn't talk right once again. Like, felt like I wanted to say a sentence, and I wanted to say a sentence. Like, so my brain was probably flooded with dopamine for all those days at that sensitivity, felt nothing. Boom. Now I felt the insanely high dopamine that I was carrying the whole time. So I didn't really put all this together. I thought like, oh, maybe like I held this sub-Q better than the other ones or whatever. So we go home after the dinner. I made it through the dinner. The talking was like, very mute. It was like, Andrew's like a first date dinner that went bad where you're like, I don't know what to say. Like when we've been dating for 10 years, it was like so cringy. But the food was great. Went home and I'm like, okay, I want to go to the gym and at least do some cardio. I had legs that day. I was actually looking forward to training legs all day. Driving to the gym is like the fucking Star Wars, like the hyperspace. And I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, this stuff is definitely fucking with me and I'm gonna cut it out. That's where I started. Shout out Alec Matrivsky, started messaging Alec. And he basically said too much dopamine can turn into that. And it seems like my sensitivity was reset on that specific day. I get to the gym, right? Okay, this is where it gets kind of scary, and I wanted to caveat this compound as a sketch compound. I don't know how to say it. The dopamine stimulation, how excited my, neurons were over walking into the gym, made walking hard, and my blood pressure started going all over the place as if I was on fucking cocaine. So I get into the gym. Just me peeing and going into the locker room and seeing people in the locker room was too much stimulation. The lights were too much stimulation. The music, the clang and the bang was too much stimulation. Absolutely nuts. I'm like, okay, well, I drove 30 minutes to this gym. I'm gonna walk 10 minutes on the treadmill and then I'm gonna go home. Yeah, super hard to walk 10 minutes on the treadmill. I cut it at like minute 8. Drive home. Now it's really, 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 really intense. Driving home, it's like beyond hyperspace in Star Wars. I'm going 55 on the highway in cruise control, stimulated beyond belief. I make it home, lay down. Blood pressure is definitely elevated like crazy, and overall me just walking to the bathroom was a struggle. And I'm like, oh man, did I just fucking, I had that lion's mane horrible experience? Is this gonna last forever? Luckily this compound has a 24-hour half-life, so it is going to half-life out. I could say the next day is when I realized that my depersonalization was completely, utterly gone. Like eureka moment, like light bulb in the head moment. It was very scary the next day. I was like afraid to stand because me even sitting up, I was nauseated. The vertigo was insane. Couldn't look at my phone. I was in the one tiny room with all the lights shut off and basically could only lay down. Even if I ate sugar, that was way too much. I thought maybe I was going hypo. Just none of that. All in the dopamine system. Next day, get up. It's like the depersonalization's completely, utterly gone. My dopamine sensitivity is completely normal. I obviously can talk way better on camera. I feel completely back to normal. It's fucking insane. I don't like, it was like the weirdest trip ever. I don't know how to say it. I just wanted to say that, like, for me, my speculation was like, oh, it's probably some like gradual change in the brain, right? Some gradual, okay, it'll auto adjust and slowly come back down. I did not expect it to be like, someone went settings and just change sensitivity from high to low. Like it was really high to low, apply, boom. All the dopamine that I had flooded up there instantly felt. So that's been my experience with 9-MeBC. I definitely wanted to state that I would cut it immediately after that happens. Obviously I'm done with it and I'm glad to retire these brain PDs. This has not been fun. The lion's mane, horrible experience. One of the worst experiences of my life, if not the worst experience of my life. Paired with that weird eureka moment, me snapping back into reality. I don't know how else to explain it other than like literally night and day. Like I was depersonalized, went through that whole shebang. Next day, as if like, it's not like as if nothing happened, but like, wow, I'm back. I looked at myself in the mirror and shit. It was like the Click remote, that movie Click. I'm just like, I just wanted to lay that out there if anyone's playing around with that shit's no joke and you have to keep a tab on it. And like I said, I tolerated that dosage for so long and then boom, randomly it hits. So hopefully you learned something from this story. I will see you guys in my next video.